All right, so welcome back everybody to Cinema Lens, and today we got our second guest. Uh, so she's my old friend, and she's currently studying sound engineer,
Yeah, sound design.
sound design in Canada. And so yeah, I'll leave it up to you. So can you introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me here. My name is Ericka Florencia, and I'm currently studying in Vancouver, Canada. And I went to Vancouver Film School for a year to get my diploma in sound design. And funny enough, now I'm studying business administration.
All right, okay. Wow, Vancouver Film School. I hope I, I wish I could go there. I'm stuck here now in Korea.
What? Korea is great. What do you
Yeah,
mean?
Korea is great. Yeah, the filmmaking is great. I agree, but just like if I'm in Vancouver, maybe I could develop my career more because they're using English.
Oh yeah, how is it
Yeah,
there? How's
yeah.
your Korean? Is it good?
Well, my Korean is better, obviously, but it's not that good. If you want to say, it's not really that good.
Well, you're there and you're like, okay, so I'm assuming you're all right.
Yeah, I'm all right now. I mean, I'm not really taking any workshop anymore because it's my own fourth year. Well, there's still a workshop, but
Mm.
I'm thinking my career of to be more of a screenwriter, which in workshop they combine director and screenwriter, and
Mm.
I can't be a director because no, well, I could be a director there, but I don't think people will pick me because of my language skills.
Well, they have to learn English. Well,
Yeah, they
right?
did, they must, yeah. All right, okay. So moving on, this
Yeah.
is a question that I'm planning to ask everyone connected to movie, like in the film career. So yeah, you become a sound engineer because you have a passion and love for movies, right?
Yes.
All right. So yeah, let's talk your favorite movie that inspired you first.
My favorite movie.
Yeah.
Um, One that I can remember is probably Wall-E.
Wall-E.
I think Wall-E
Mm-hmm.
is my favorite. I tend to watch more animations
Mm-hmm.
than real, like, live action movies. I used to watch a lot of Disney movies, so my favorite is probably Wall-E. It's just, I don't know how you could relate so much to a robot. I guess it's a Disney magic, but I almost cried watching that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
What about yours?
mine is well, it's keep on changing. I believe
Mm.
that yeah, it's keep on changing. But if you're talking about animation, I love the Japanese movie Makoto Shinkai Your Name. That is like one of my favorite
Oh,
animation
I've
of all
actually
time.
never watched that.
Ah, yeah, you should. No, it's a
What's
very
that
good
about?
movie. It's about a boy in the Tokyo, and a girl in a town, and but the girl
Okay.
wishes that she wanted to live in Tokyo. So they magically they swap bodies.
Oh, dude, I love those kind of movies.
Yeah, I think you should watch that.
I'll keep
but
that in
if
mind. Yeah.
yeah, but if we're talking about live action, now my favorite movie is, do you know Wong Kar Wai?
Wait, what is it?
Wong Kar Wai, director. It's a director.
No, I don't.
Yeah. It's In the Mood for Love, Wong Kar Wai. Yeah, it's one of my favorite movie of all time.
Oh, that's cool. What kind of movies does he make?
It's mostly about romantic film. Yeah, well, he's in Hong Kong, so yeah.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, that's why. But but talking about Wall-E,
Yeah.
I really do love Wall-E as well. I mean, like in the first act, yeah, in the first act, there's just no talking at all.
Yeah, it was crazy, no?
Yeah. It's a reference to Charlie Chaplin's films.
Ah, really? I didn't even know
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So that's why they don't talk at all, and they just use movement.
Mhm. That was crazy because that's also one of my favorite part about it. They don't use much sounds. They used a lot of background sounds to tell you what's happening. They used also a lot of robot sounds,
Mm-hmm.
which was, I think, really well designed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I truly agree. They just use, well, the animation is very good. It's very
Yes.
great, it's very magnificent. But the use of sound, I think, is also important.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very important. Like for me, when I'm a when I watched it in the theater when I'm a kid, and obviously I don't really understand the film, of course, as a kid. But I remember how immersive it was to me to watch that film, like from the visual as well and from the sound. And
Yeah.
sound plays a very important role, I guess, in that film.
Yeah.
The use of futuristic in the what's the ship called? Axiom.
I don't remember.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember as well.
Maybe you're right. Axiom. That sounds
Yeah,
right.
Axiom. Yeah. And that's just how I remember that it's one of the movie that says that how important sound is to filmmaking.
Yeah, I think it's crazy how much effect they put, because in the beginning of the movie there was barely anything, but like robot sounds and like movements, a lot of foley. But then during the climax, it was just very packed with a lot of sounds. So I think they just did really well in terms of like building it up and like giving us like that climax, you know?
Yeah. The climax is very packed. I agree about that.
Yeah.
We talk about our favorite film, what inspired us, and then our study experience in Canada, and for you in Canada, for me in Korea. So yeah, I just really want to know, like, how is your experience in Canada? Is it good or?
Yeah, I actually want to know because we
Yeah.
graduated together. So I'm curious if you actually got hit by the pandemic during your study.
Yeah, obviously I got hit by the
Yeah,
pandemic in Canada, right?
because I was too. So I spent most of my school days actually at home. So the first 2 weeks, I was super excited because I imagined this like college life like you see in movies. And I was like, it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna meet so many new friends, go to parties and whatnot. And 2 weeks in, the school just closed down and everything closed. So for 2 weeks, we were just at home, not knowing what will happen. And after that, the school decided to give all the computers out to the students, like to lend them so we can use them at home. So most of my school days were at home editing. But like crazy enough, it was actually one of the best year of my life because I get to learn from the experts. And because half of the class like practically dropped out because they didn't want to study during the pandemic. So there were only like 11 students in my class, and we get like exclusive mentorship from our instructors because there's not many of us. So I learned a lot from them.
Can you name one of them?
My instructor.
Yeah. Like I just like you say they're experts, so I believe they work in a lot of movies, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure what famous movies they did, but there's one sound mixer. His name is Brad Hillman. He was probably the best instructor I could ever have. Whenever he's in class, he's just like, okay, you do it. I won't tell you what to do. And we're like, what's happening? But you can search him up, but I'm not sure if he did anything like that big. I'm sure he worked with like Emma Roberts.
Emma Roberts. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and like a bunch of other famous actors, but he doesn't really care. But yeah, so he used to work like to LA and back to Vancouver, so that's cool.
Okay, like I want to make a comparison, but I know it's not a very fair comparison because you're studying a specific specialization, the sound design, right? Well, meanwhile, I learned about it's called film major, so I learned about everything, but sound is one of them. But unfortunately, sound is just like in the real world, sound doesn't get noticed by much people. Yeah. So yeah, but we do learn sound mostly by practical. And unfortunately, in the Corona pandemic time, we don't learn that much practically.
For sound, you need like more than one person because you need to record someone, right? Same with film, I guess, in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now I'm just curious, like, how is the process of you learning sound from the how many years you're learning
It was
in
12 months, 1 year.
12 months? Yeah. What is the process like from the first month to the last month?
So there are 4 terms.
Uh huh.
So the year was divided into 4 terms. And what we did was in the first term, we just basically did everything blindly because we didn't know anything about sound. So they were just like sending us, like, for example, a 5-minute video. And then they're like, throw in some background sounds in there. Let's see how it sounds like. Yeah, they were not even like, okay, this is what you should use. This is what you should. No, they're like, go ahead, do it. Because the first thing that's the most important is to trust your own ears. Because you don't want to be like copying others' work. You know how in drawing you would be able to copy something, a drawing of
Yes.
something, and you make your own version? In
Okay.
sound, it's very hard to do that. In terms of like I can't have like my teacher giving me a reference because they want me to actually trust my ears first. And then after that, we actually also have a game audio course in
A
our
game audio course.
yes. So we didn't only do film; we had audio. Oh, sorry, we had game as well.
Mm.
Yeah, so we did a little bit of game in the second term, and then first we also did a bunch of Foley, I think. So first Foley, background, and a little bit of sound effects. But we weren't really designing yet. And then in the third and fourth term, then we actually designed a lot of things, and we had to actually record the sounds, export it to the program, which is Pro Tools, the software, and then actually put a lot of plugins in it. And then we get like I don't remember how many minutes. I think it was like up to 6 minutes of videos. We could choose which video we want to use, and then we just design from scratch. Like literally, the
Oh.
videos that we get was like silent. Yeah, it was
Oh my
silent. It's
God.
like as if it's muted, and I have to build it from the ground up. So, it was really good learning experience.
The one that you talk mostly is about from the editing side, but do you actually ever like learn about how to be an on-set boom operator or such thing?
Ah,
Yeah.
yes and no.
What
So
do you
it
mean?
is supposed to be in the curriculum, but because it was, we had a lot of conversation about doing that during the lockdown.
Hmm?
They were afraid that we had a lot of contact with the boom, and like we had to work with a lot of people. So they postponed it until the last term, which was like January 2021. And yeah, January 2021 was when we actually started doing on-set stuff, but it was not with an actual crew. So that's why I'm like, yes, but not really. Because like I feel like you need to have the full experience of having the crew around and actually responding when the AD says like sound speed and everything. It was just in a little class, and we were just taught how to hold the boom mic, some techniques. But yeah, not much to be honest.
Mm. You know, it's interesting because we actually learn first the onset how to operate a boom mic. Then we learn about the editing in my program.
Mm,
So in my first year, so basically the sound specific sound class we separated from the first year and the third year.
mm,
So in the first year is the pandemic era, but fortunately Korea is one of the lowest one, right? At that time.
yeah,
So we got to experience the how to operate the boom mic, how to operate, and we also got to learn to know how about the sound equipment.
nice.
Yeah, that's the first year, but that's the most important thing in the first year. How to be, how to do things on set.
Mm-hmm.
But and then third year we got what you said before, but
Yeah.
putting everything like on a very silent. Oh no, and there's nothing, there's no sound in there, and we have
Yeah.
to just put a boop, 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 and put the background in there.
It was intimidating at first, right?
Yeah, it's very intimidating, but
Yeah.
yeah, I managed to pass like. I got a B, from on that class.
That's good.
Oh, it's not good. I
What do
mean,
you mean?
I mean, A plus, A plus A, B plus B. I got a B at it. It's not very good, and I also recognize myself that I'm not very good at sound.
Why?
No, like no, I recognize that I don't specialize in sound.
Okay.
It's an important thing to learn, but for a career, I don't think I'm picking sound. Although what we're
Fair.
doing like a podcast now is very important for sound.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, it's a lot of work to put into it. I don't think a lot of people know what we actually do, because we're just not that exposed, I guess. And
Mm,
in movies, when people watch, like, I don't know, Marvel, they
yeah.
wouldn't be commenting on the sound. They won't be like, "Oh, I like the sound of that explosion. It sounds different." Like, no one would say that. Fun fact: my instructor actually said that a good sound is unnoticeable. Like, you can't notice it. You can't notice a good sound. That's
Yeah,
when you
yeah,
know
it's
it's
true.
good.
True.
Because, like,
True.
everything is balanced, everything is good. You don't notice anything weird about it. That means it's good because it sounds natural to your ears. Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
why we're kind of unnoticeable.
Yeah, it's true. But when there's a bad sound, you become noticed,
You
and you get
know.
very bad reviews as
Yeah,
well.
that is true. That is true.
That's true. That's true. Like seriously, if I make a film, like the worst part for me is to do sound. I remember doing sound actually in the first year, and
Hmm.
it's just like how to do this? Like,
That's why I'm here.
hey, let's work together.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure
But
we can tell people about that,
why?
about your project. I'm so
Oh
excited
yeah,
about it.
yeah. Let's just make it secret as well. I'm still
Okay,
editing my progress,
they'll
my
know.
project. They'll know for sure. But no, I'm just surprised because
Mm.
there's not really a lot of difference in the bigger picture. I know you're more detailed to the sound part, but I'm surprised that we don't really have a lot of difference on how the teacher teaching us.
Mm.
Yeah. But to be fair, my teacher
Yeah.
is one of the most famous. No, one of the famous people to do Foley. So most people
Wow.
like found for him, and I went to his studio and I see a lot of his poster, and I said, "Oh
Nice.
my god, they do a lot of my favorite films there."
No
Yeah,
way.
in
Oh, that's
Korea,
so
yeah.
cool. Yeah.
I would like to have a question though. What do you think would be different if you ever studied in Canada instead in our home country? They ever thought about it?
Oh, yeah. Because I had the option whether I want to go here or stay, back in Indonesia. But if I studied back home, I wouldn't be studying film. That's for sure.
Oh,
Yeah. Because the only institution, there were two, I think, that I know of. Um, One was SAE Institute.
yeah. That's what people mostly thought about in the
Yes,
first time. Yeah.
because I think they're one of the first ones who actually focus on cinematic sound.
True.
Because there's another institution, um, UPH.
Okay.
Yeah, they do a bunch of sound. I think they do audio engineering course,
Mm-hmm.
but unfortunately, they kind of split it. So, like, if you take that course, you also have to take music performance.
Music performance,
Yeah, and that's like
but
complete two different things.
mm,
Yeah, so I wasn't gonna take sound at all. I was actually gonna go to a branding program. My life would have been so different. Like I would be like working in a corporation somewhere, being a slave to some to some rich people, and yeah, I would be having a lot of fun, I would imagine.
Yeah, I
So
imagine as well. I can't imagine myself working on the office.
now
So
that we're
not me.
here, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it changed a lot. I mean, you're working right now, right?
Hmm.
Working in film. So yeah, I would also like to ask about your working experience in Canada.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, by
So
sound design.
it's interesting here because I honestly never imagined how it would be until I actually tried to look for a job. So there's not much full-time jobs for sound people here because the way they design the industry is that you hire contractors to edit for your film. So most of the people here are contractors. They're not like a full time. You don't really work for a studio full time as a sound designer. It used to be back then, I heard, but not anymore. So it was very challenging trying to find like constantly one project after another. But at the same time, I get to see and work with a lot of people, different people, whether it was indie, no budget at all, a lot of budget. Like I took everything. And one was interesting that I could tell you, but I can't really say the name, was this person who did like a film competition with me.
Okay.
And I didn't know anything about this person. I was just like, okay, let's just do this thing where we make movies in 3 days from start to finish. And I was like really excited about it. But they were just shooting the movie the first 2 days, and the last day is supposed to be post. So on the last day, I was on standby, but I didn't hear anything from them until 2 hours before the submission. And
Why
then
though?
because I just found out then that they never actually made a movie.
What are you making then?
They were making a movie, but it was like the first time they actually tried to edit um, the pictures themselves, instead of like hiring other people.
Okay.
But that was the most chaotic day of my life. I had 2 hours to mix and also edit and also sound design, which are different things. Yeah, but
No,
it
I
was
can't. I
crazy.
can't. I mean,
Yeah.
our industry, yeah, the film industry is very chaotic. I agree about
Mm.
that.
Yeah, but that was the craziest 2 hours of my life. And other than that, it's actually very cool because the people here are very chill. So I do agree that most Canadians are very chill. And like they won't rush you. They won't like unless they're like professionals that are like very competent and if they see you slagging, they're like, what are you doing? But like when you work for like an indie film company, they're just chill. They're like, go get a coffee, like go chill until we're done. We'll let you know when we're done.
Oh my god,
So
I wish that I could be
yeah.
there now. Yeah, because most people there, they don't really chill a lot.
Here in Korea.
In Korea. That but I think that's why their film is very good. They have the
Hmm.
vision. They have like a perfectionism to do that. I mean,
Hmm.
I don't know if this happened to other film industry. I believe that Indonesia doesn't have this, but while they making a movie, they also edit it side by side.
Wow.
Yeah, they literally just edit hours after they shoot the film.
Oh,
So
that's
they have the
insane.
onset record, onset editor.
Ah.
Yeah, That's why I remember I saying that. Oh wow! So they already got a vision. They already know what to do, or they
Yeah.
know how the film would be. So they just thought like just looking at the dailies and oh yeah, okay, you know what? Yeah, this is good, this is good. But they literally just already stitched the film together. So actually, fun fact: I got an acting job for my
That's cool.
professor. Yeah, which I will do a podcast as well with my friend. He also got an acting job with me.
Oh, that's cool.
So,
That's so cool.
yeah, and I saw a lot at the time how
Mm.
different student film and also the professional film. Well, it's an
Mm.
indie film, but I saw on set how they do those jobs. And while I'm in the waiting room, no, in the makeup room, and the makeup room is very small because they use a tent, and the editor, on-set editor, was there, and
Yeah.
I saw like, oh wow, how the film already got staged already so a lot. But I learned a lot about that.
Yeah, that's crazy. Because
Yeah.
here, I don't think they're that rushed, although sometimes they are. But once I worked for a Hallmark film, and it's a they still call it like a small budget film, but it's really not. They probably have $5 million in their pockets. Um, but what I did was I had to record the sound on that day, and then I would give the SD card to the DIT, whoever is gonna do all the compiling and file organization, and they would send it to like a company where they would do exactly what you just said. But then they would edit it probably like a week after. Because generally
Yeah.
here, if we could talk about work ethics, like even me, they call me a hard worker.
Why
And I
though?
think I work just regular, like a regular person. But they call me like I'm a crazy hard worker. Because here, they take it so easy. They don't take it lightly, but they take it easy. So I'm not speaking for every Canadian, because like here there's a lot of other people immigrating, not just Canadians, right? But generally, they tend to be a lot chill here. To be honest, I do like it because we still make good like movies, but they just make sure that we have a lot of time and like more time to finish, rather than rushing. Yeah.
Yeah, different culture, different culture. Yeah, yeah, because
It
we
is.
have here what we always call the pali pali munhua, if you know, the
No, what
fast
is it?
culture. Like
Yeah.
you have to do very everything rush. So
Mm,
even the Korean agree about this.
yeah, I know how
And
Koreans work really hard and they work like very long hours, and I think
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
that's very admirable
That's very
in some
admirable,
ways.
but
In some ways.
obviously I don't want to be there. But
Well,
I
the
will.
only time I was rushed here, I was editing a 30-minute like reality show,
Okay.
and I had 2 days to do it, and it
Mhm.
was, according to them, it was really rushed. But I had a good time. 2 days, I got like 20 hours to do it. It was alright.
Okay. I just want to ask this because I think it will be a very good input for me, and I believe for the audience watching this. How you get from that? You just graduated from your diploma program, and then you got a job. Like how do you get how is the first step for you to get that job?
Um, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
sometimes I wonder the same. But let me tell you what I did. I
Okay.
wouldn't say this would work for everyone, but I hope it does. Because I think the most important thing in the film industry is to like befriend everyone. Like
True.
everyone on
True. True.
Facebook, everyone from your instructor's like circle, um, everyone from the film like major. Because I was in the sound major, right? But I had like a lot of friends in the film major as well. So I just had a lot of people that I can ask, like, hey, what are you working on right now? Like, are you doing something cool? Can I help you with anything? So I did a lot of that in the first few weeks, I would say, like 2-3 weeks. But I had a great instructor. He was my on-set instructor, so he taught me how to do the boom and everything in the small class. Um, he was really generous and he's really kind. He had like a group on Facebook where he would tell everyone when there's a gig open. So I was a lot, I was like waiting around a lot on Facebook, and I found like some really cool people who actually need sound people there. So how it works here is that you have like film, like Vancouver film jobs or like indie Vancouver film. You have those groups in Facebook, and then if you're in there, some people might reach out for you because they know you're in that group. So I did a lot of Facebook searches and I talked to a lot of people. And I just make them my friends. I don't make them like my colleagues. So I don't just ask them like, hey, I need a job. No, I don't say something like that. I would say like, hey, how are you? How are you? What have you been up to? I'm free during this day and this day. Let's get some lunch or something. And then I would talk to a lot of people like that. So networking is key.
All right. So moving on, before we talk about one of your big project, I want us to start small. So I want to discuss about the short animation that both our friends, which is our school friend, the Black Magic Coffee.
Yes.
Yeah, by our animator. Yeah. I really like that type of animation.
You liked
It's
it?
surreal. Yeah.
I loved it.
You loved
Oh
it?
my god,
Yeah.
it was so funny because I remember when he's like, "Oh, I'm doing this project," and I'm like, "Hey, I can do the sound for that." I think I offered him, and he was like, "Oh, really?" But then he wasn't sure for a little bit because he thought I was gonna charge him. But I was like,
Ah,
"No, I'm not. Like, I have some free time. I'm down to do it." But it's hilarious because I love his kind of humor. Even in school,
yeah.
I loved his humor. It's really
Yeah, he has a
funny.
very different humor actually.
Yes.
Yeah. So I just want to ask, like, how do you the working sound process of the short? Like, do you do this from all from audio library, or do you just do fully also on certain sounds?
So, I tend to do both. Because, like, if I record everything, um, first of all, not all recordings would work, especially if you don't record in the studio. So, I do have, like, a lot of library sounds that I use. But what I usually do is, like, I take, um, I usually take, like, 2 or 3 sounds and I mush them together. So they sound like a new thing. So I don't just, like, um, get some sound from the library and just leave it like that. I will put it like through plugins. Plugins are basically like you put a sound through a plugin, it'll change either the tone of it or the um the panning or like you can do a lot with plugins. So it's basically like a filter for sound. You can edit it by yourself. So that's what I did. That's basically the basic of sound designing. You just put everything to the plugin and then I get it into his project and see what works and what not. So a lot of the times I would have a lot of things in the project and then I would cut it down at least half. So like in the end I would have like half of the sounds that I cut into it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you when you do the foley for this project, do you do in your home or just
Yeah,
or
I
you have
did
to go
it
to the
in my
studio?
home.
You do it in your home.
Yes. So the key is actually just get all the windows closed.
Hmm.
Make sure your AC is turned off. Make sure your bathroom lights are off and the what do you call it? The hexos. The exhaust is not like
Exhaust. Yeah.
yeah, the exhaust is not on and you're good. But another thing that I think is very important is the microphone you're using. Because you know how Foley usually use the shotgun mics? The one
Yes,
that's like
yes, I
very
know.
thin and they're very direct. Yeah. There's this one type of mic called the NTG8.
Yeah.
It's by Rode. It's like
Okay.
very, very long. It's not like the usual boom mic that you see, but it's like twice, 3 times as long. And it actually is very direct, so it won't catch the noise like on the sides at all. It'll just catch like what's in front of it. So that's very, very helpful when you record at home because you know there's the refrigerator sound and there's like the traffic and everything else. But with that microphone, you won't catch any of that. But funny story, I feel like it depends on the room as well. As I have a really funny story about the Foley room in Vancouver Film School. So they
Okay.
have like three or four Foley rooms, I believe,
Yeah.
and they have this room called Foley Room 3. It's the biggest room of all of them, and like it looks so nice. But once in a while, every like 2 to 5 minutes, you can hear the flushing pipe like going like. So like once in a while, you have to actually stop and like hold on. We have to wait for it to finish, and then you have to wait for the water to fill up the toilet again, and then it stops. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's not about the Foley room, but it's about like it's more important I think if you have a really good mic and find a room that's not attached to a toilet pipe. So it was very loud.
Oh well, wow. That's a very like a film school that have a very wrong design, I guess.
Because they chose this building that was like an old bank, so it
Oh.
was a really old building.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. Actually, I first thought like it's all about the room as well, but I think
Hmm.
mic is very important as well, right? And the external
Hmm.
sounds. Yeah, and I remember on the voice over narration, you re-edit it too, or I mean, I know that the director Yoka, he do the voice-over narration, but do you also re-edit? You mix it out, or
Are you tired? Do you feel like your life is falling apart? Need motivation in life? Try Black Magic Coffee. Black Magic Coffee. One sip and you're fixed. Black Magic Coffee is coffee on steroids. Please remember to consume moderately.
Yeah. To be honest, for the narration in the
Mhm.
actual animation, there was none actually. I think you
Not?
saw his how he made the video, how he animated it. Because in the animation, I don't believe there's any narration. There was a lot of like just like little cartoony sounds, but I don't remember having a narration in it. If there is,
Uh
he must have added it after me.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, he had a narration like the Quango. What's Quango? The advertisement narration. I know it's the
Ah,
sound. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's just like a technical demo reel that he was
Oh, I see.
doing.
I see.
But in the actual thing, there was none. The only thing that I had to do was sound effects, sound design, and I had to mix the music.
Do you actually work with him as well, the composer?
No, which
No.
is crazy. Yeah, now that I think about it, we should have, but
Hmm.
it was such a time crunch that I believe we didn't even have time to go over it twice. We didn't even revise anything. It was just like a here you go. Like we just did it and we're like, okay, put together, nice. Because
Ah.
yeah, I believe we were like a week behind, and we just had to throw everything together. And what I did was just adjust the volume of the music, and I EQ'd some parts of it just to make room for the sound effects. Yeah.
Yeah, but for me personally, I really like that short animation. For me, I think it's very pretty good enough.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. For the
you
sound,
guys great.
huh?
You guys great. Great to
Yeah,
work
yeah,
with.
yeah. You guys will work with. Yeah. And okay, moving on to like a bigger project. You, I tried to find like before I contacted you. Of course, I tried to do research, and yeah, I stumbled upon the IMDb page. I saw your name. Yeah, that's very cool. That's very cool, actually. And I tried to search all of your project, but I can't find online. But I saw one of them is You Run. Do you do You Run actually? Or
Yes.
yeah, I saw that. What's your role
My
in
role
that
was
project?
a Foley editor
Foley editor.
and recordist at some point.
At some
So
point.
yeah, so there were like I wasn't the only person who was working on the sound. There were, I think, 2 or 3 people other than me. So we were working on it at the same time. And my friend and I, Connor, he was the sound effects slash all the Foley, other than the footsteps. So if you can't tell from the title, it's called You Run, and it's actually a lot of running. For like 25 minutes, I have to fill in all the footsteps.
Wait, so you just like boom, 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 boom at 25 minutes?
Mm, it was crazy. I was on autopilot, and it was like thousands and thousands of like footsteps individually. I have to like put it in and sync it to the picture. Like the whole movie is this girl running. Yeah, it was intense. She was like running on sand, running on the pavement, running on like soil, like at the park. I had to find a lot of surfaces for that, and it's really hard because like, how am I supposed to get like her running on grass? So I did a lot of improvisation.
Yeah, I know that sound is all about improvisation. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Obviously, you can't get. I don't know. I remember about getting. I mean, the sound of hitting people. Yeah, obviously you can't hit people. And so
Yeah.
they make. Yeah, I saw the documentary of how they make Fight Club and this. Yeah,
Oh
how
yeah,
they
I
do big
saw that too.
punches at. Yeah, some
Oh, that's
watermelon and
very
such.
cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's very cool.
Yeah, if you see Foley, like professional Foley, it's actually an act. It's actually an art. It's it's a lot of creative. There's a lot of creativity, a lot of thinking outside of the box. Because like, there's this famous YouTube video about Foley where for like dogs' footsteps they use paper clips on their fingers.
Paper clips.
Yeah, and they just put like the microphone really close. So I honestly think it's like an art. Yeah, it's a tough
Damn.
one.
Wow. And I just want to actually before you make you saw the footage. Like, do you have any inspiration? Because I saw a lot of the futuristic sound. And like it's a clean it's a clean future. Like it's not like the dystopian settings, right? But I know that there's very little film that does that because of the futuristic sci-fi movies.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you get actually those inspiration?
Um, to be honest, in that Euron film, I didn't do anything of that. But
Oh,
I
you didn't
worked
do anything.
closely. Yeah, but I worked closely with the sound designer who did
Yeah.
that, and he explained that he used a lot of synthesizer.
Ah,
So what you would do is like with synthesizer, it's really cool because you can use like, I don't know, you can like do a glass clink, like clink, and then you would export that to this synth plugin, and then you can change the waveform, and you can make it a UI sound. So like that iPhone thing, that's like you can make it out of like a wine glass and a butter knife, and then you put it into a synthesizer and make it smoother or make it less sharp. So that's what they did, and most of the inspiration came from Apple notifications. They made it clear. Yeah, they made it clear like we want it to be Apple, but far enough that it's not Apple. Yeah.
Apple is the future.
Yeah, so that's all I know about it. They use a lot of synthesizers, and maybe they recorded some metal sounds, and they alter it to something different.
Wow, that's just a lot of role in sound. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
because well, in my well, because we're doing just like a student film, right? So they just limited from boom operator and also the sound mixer. Sound mixer do everything from the foley, from the editing, and when I saw
No.
your when you say sound editor, and I said you're not doing this, you record the sound, the sound designer, and I just thought like, wow, that's just a lot of role in sound.
It's a lot. It
Yeah, it's a
depends on
lot.
how you want to make it, right? Because like
Yeah.
sometimes you can do everything at once if you have like a free schedule, but like sometimes they want it done in 1 week, and in that case you have to split the work with like 5 people. One does the dialogue,
Mm,
one does the foley, one does the sound design, one does the sound effects. Um, they could also do. Sometimes they do ADR.
ADR. Mm,
Yeah. So the ADR recorder itself is different. ADR editor, the editor is different. So and the mixer is also there. So like it could be like 5 people to 6, 7 people.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, okay, and so I think because I can't find another project of yours, and yeah, we're almost like an hour talking. I think we just like maybe we just make it quick. And actually, do you have like a future plan for you being a sound engineer?
Yeah. Cause it's after like 2 years working in the film area here, I actually got one game job that was really, I would say, really fulfilling. I really enjoyed it. Game is another thing though. So I feel like right now I'm focused on trying to get into the game industry as a sound designer,
Wow,
which
that's cool.
is a lot of recording, a lot of sound design. But I do enjoy making film. So hopefully, once in a while in the future, I would be able to do some projects that I really like, that I'm passionate about, and do a full time in game audio.
Oh, I see. I see.
Yeah.
And do you think you're going back to your hometown to do this kind of job as well?
If they pay me enough, maybe.
Yeah.
But no, like if there's like a project that I feel like it's worth it to do, definitely. Cuz
Mm,
like I feel like in film there's no fixed plan what you're going to do next year or this year.
yeah.
It's always going to be changing. So I feel like if there's an opportunity, yes, I would take it. If I could work with cool people in Indonesia, hell yeah, I will take it. Because, like,
Oh, cool,
why
cool.
wouldn't I work with my own people?
For the closing, do you want to say anything to your audience? Maybe you can promote yourself if people you want to find your job.
For the people who want to be a sound designer, I guess if I could look at myself like 3 years ago, I think it would be easier for me to think about it this way. What would I say to myself 3 years ago before taking this route? Because at the time I was like, I didn't know whether to take sound or not. I didn't even know what it was because we didn't have much insight on what filmmaking is.
Mm,
I would say it is worth it to do something that you actually enjoy. I know some people might say like, but you have to think about money, and you have to think about like making sure you have enough for your parents. Well, I feel like even if you don't take a film degree, you can still be a filmmaker because what it takes is like gathering some people and actually taking the chance and time to do the project, right? I would say don't be afraid to do something that's out of the box. because when I was about to take sound design, people were like, "What? What is that? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna be like a radio girl? Like, are you gonna record like people singing?" They didn't get it. But if you think you like it, I would say that's a good enough reason to take it. Yeah, but there are a lot of opportunities. So whenever you see it, just take it.
I see. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's very nice talking with you after a long
Thank
time.
you. Yeah, it's been so
Yes,
long.
it's been so long. And okay, for audience that hearing this, thank you so much. And you can visit Ericka's account, I guess.
My
Yeah,
Instagram?
your Instagram or such. Yeah, I'll put it on the link description down below. And also, if
Yeah.
you could support this podcast as well, you can just subscribe and like and maybe comment as well. And all right, that's it all. All right, good
Bye-bye.
morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Bye.